Hi friends, today I'm training on yet another kata from Coding Meetup, and this time it's Coding Meetup number 5, higher order function series, prepare the count of languages. So in this kata, what you have to do is when you are given an array of objects, you have to make another object and return. Your function has to return an object which has the count of each of the languages which the people in the list use. Okay, so it's probably easier to understand it using an example. And this example, I have a list of 4 people, and 2 of them know C, 1 knows JavaScript, and 1 knows Ruby. So the result is an object which has C as a property and 2 as a value, JavaScript as a property, 1 as a value, and Ruby again is 1. So I hope it's really easy, just not that easy to explain. And what they are saying is just representing the data about developers who have signed up to attend the Coding Meetup. So let's go to the test section and let's open the test. So what I'm going to do immediately is import my import my expect statement, and I'm going to use require because imports like the ES6 imports don't yet work on Codewars. It would be really nice if they would support this functionality, but you have to wait, I guess. Also, I'm changing var to const, and right here I'm going to write my describe function, and it's count languages, right? So count languages has one it block inside it, and it just works with list 1. Okay. So I before I do anything, I am going to copy this answer. I'm going to paste it right here, and I'm going to change that to const, and the variable name I'm going to change to expected. That's actually, I think, a lot of people are using this convention to have expected result. So I expect count languages given list 1 to be equal, but again, you have to remember, I am comparing object to an object, so I cannot do equal like that. I have to do the deep equal, and deep equal has a shorthand just EQL if you are using chai, or if you're using this default library. I'm not sure what kind of assertion library it is, but it's using ser deep equals. And it has to be deep equal to the expected, right? So the tests look, that single test looks good. Let's move to the solution section. So, as always, deleting everything and starting from scratch. So count languages, right? I will be given a single array, and I'm going to name it list. I'll give you like a second to think about it, how best to solve this type of exercise. you are given an array of objects and you're expected to return a single object, right? Can you use map function? Not really, because your number of arguments can be like very different. Can you use filter? Yeah, you can probably like combine filter with map, but that would be like really hard and probably would involve like external state to keep track of how many items you have filtered out. I think the easiest way by far to solve this kata is to use the good old reduce, right? Reduce is again number one most useful function in my list. So I'm reducing, I get two values, I'm going to name them R for the result. This is going to be your accumulated result, right? You're going to append this first parameter as you go through the list. The second one, I'm going to name it just V for value. So, what should I return? Well, what's expected of me is to finally return an object. So I have to return an object. So you might be wondering, can you do something like that, like return an object and start with an empty object, and then return something like A with a value of 1. That actually won't work because JavaScript interpreter wouldn't know if you're doing a block statement right here or if it's an object, right? So it will assume that that's a block. Fortunately, you can still do that in a single line, and this you have to basically use this syntax, okay? So that's an object. You have to wrap it in parentheses, okay? So what would be a good starting point? I think like a very reasonable starting point would be to spread out my existing values, right? So 3 dots are what it does. It spreads out my existing, like breaks apart the R object and spreads all the properties in this new object. Then, after I have spread out all the existing properties, I need to update one of them. And which one is it going to be? It's going to be the one named v.language. Okay, but that's not how you do dynamic property names. You do that by wrapping that in square brackets. So after you have that, what next? Now you have to basically get the previous one, right? The R with a property v.language. That actually involves a lot of like specific syntactic things, and that's quite hard for a level 7 kata. So you have that, and you have to add +1 to it, right? Unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy because look, what happens if you have then the function just starts. What will be the R, the language? It's going to be undefined because it's not going to default to 0. And what we need for it to be defaulted to 0, and to do that, that's not that hard. Again, wrap it inside parentheses. That's not going to do the trick. And do the OR 0. That's the OR operator. And this is going to be undefined. If it's undefined, then substitute undefined for 0. And +1 we start out having just an empty array. Let's try that. That was a lot of kind of not easy, a bit advanced syntax. Okay, so let's see if I have made any mistakes. Let's try to run the test. And yep, looks like I did. Let's check out the error message. Unexpected token ... right? This guy's like completely off point, but this one is telling us a lot. Unexpected token ... Looks like it does not understand what this is, and yeah, then you look closely, you see that I'm using Node version 6.6, and instead I want to be using Node version 6.6 with the Babel transpiler. So let's enable Babel or Babel, from Babel, probably Babel is right. So Babel and Node 6, let's try to run it again. Oh, that's excellent. Looks like this time the test has passed. And let's try with the official tests. Very good. Looks like I have passed all the tests. I hope that this kata probably has given you some insight into the bit newer syntax like ES6 and ES7, ES 2017, whatever you call it, but I just call it like new syntax, which was not available in ES5. So post ES5 syntax has a lot to offer, like arrow functions, spread operators. I'm not sure about dynamic property names, but pretty sure I haven't used them when I was using ES5. That might be like my thing, but they might be new. I don't actually remember that. And yeah, it really, you see, we really solved this kind of not very trivial kata in quite easy to understand fashion, right? Just spread what you have, update 1, default to 0 if it's undefined, and move from there. Okay, that's basically it. So thanks for watching. See you in another kata. Bye, friends.